Back inside the Powell Athletic Center, Matt Payton, Benji Kelly. The Tigers victorious here today, 83-74, the final score. Campbellsville moving their record back to even in Mid-South Conference play. A big one looms on Monday night with the University of the Cumberlands, Benji Kelly, but you can't overstate the importance of this one to get back to 500 in conference play. Now, three on the men's side, 3 of your last 4 are at home as you try to punch that ticket to Kansas City.
Absolutely a huge win here this afternoon for Campbellsville, and they weathered a storm a couple of times. Life just wouldn't go away. Just a very good athletic ball club. Thankfully, we did a lot on the defensive end here, but credit Coach Vernon and his staff to making the adjustments. When Andrew was double teamed down low, we couldn't handle that down at Life. We made the adjustments here, and as a result, great things have happened, and Stephon Adams come away with a huge game. So, now we got to turn our attention to the University of Cumberland, who right now I believe is up 4 with 5 minutes to go at Georgetown. So, we had to win this game in order to hold serve. So, great effort.
Big one here today for the Tigers as Benji will step out. We'll allow the head coach here, Brent Vernon, to make his way in. Campbellsville today shoots 53% from the floor, 32 of 60, 8 of 25 from deep, 32%. They were 11 of 15 at the line, 73.3%. While Life, 47% for the ball game, 33% from long range, 9 of 27, 3 of 3 at the free throw line. As we now welcome in the head coach of the Tigers, Brent Vernon. Coach, this was, you needed it, pretty much a must win, and your guys found a way to get it done here this evening over Life, a very game Life University bunch.
Man, it was a battle. I knew it would be. Both teams knew there was a lot on the line for future stakes, and it actually, one game it doesn't do nothing because we all have so many games still left, but it was a big one. They beat us at their place, so getting this win, now at least with a tie, you're even. So we needed that one. It gets us back to 500 in conference play. It gets us one game closer to getting to that 20-win mark, which I think is a great goal for us every year. So, it was good at times. It was sloppy at times. But in the Mid-South, I just think that's sort of basketball you're going to see occasionally because the teams are so good. And we hung in and just made just enough plays down the stretch.
You mentioned just enough plays, maybe not I know you kind of left Life some opportunities, but both of you guys really just got hot at the end. Both of you were making shots. You were in a position you could trade some baskets if you had to. Life couldn't come up with any stops really the last minute unless of course it was a turnover. You had a few of those.
Right, and the turnovers always seem to lead to baskets, or an offensive rebound seemed to lead to a basket. Having a little bit of a cushion helped, but it seemed like every time we made a shot, they answered. And then every time they made a shot to where I'm like, oh, man, it's getting close, we stepped up and made big ones. I'm going to say a little bit of everybody, too. Hagan, not having his normal game, but made a huge and one, and then made a big 3 late in the game in the corner. Zob came back and made some really good shots. I thought Dion was really good today, and it was a whole team effort today.
I mentioned to Benji during the game, it may be the ugliest 14 points Hagan has ever scored, but you want the ball in his hands late, and he goes over there, he knocks down the big 3 in the corner, and then he hits those two free throws at the end. That shows you what kind of caliber player he is.
Yeah, and, this is one of those that he was probably due for a game like this. He's been so just efficient and gotten everything done, and he had some really good looks today and just couldn't get one, but there was a timeout, and he came over, and obviously I have the utmost trust and faith in him, and I just told him he better not quit shooting if he's open.
Yeah.
Whenever we had that, I think it was a 7 or 8 point lead, I wanted to run that out of bounds play for him. It was something that we had put in for Life and the way they guard it, but I wanted to make sure he understood where the trust factor was, and he knew if he was open, he better shoot it. And it was a big one, and he stepped up at the right time.
Stephon Adams got really hot there in the second half, Coach. He finishes with 29, one off his career high, 7 rebounds in the ball game. He had 4 assists, 4 steals. One of Zob's better days. I know maybe the efficiency in the shooting wasn't there, but he knocked down 5 Edward Jones threes, and he had some big ones when you needed them most.
He did, and this was one of those games with Hagan not making as many. I think he felt he needed to not take over, but try to figure out ways to get other people going, and I thought he did that with Dion. I thought we continued to throw it to Drew. He made some tough shots. He forced some shots that we're trying to work on not taking as many. I'm going to say as the conference goes, it gets a little tougher and the scout happens, but he's going to take some forced shots at times. He's been a lot better the last couple games. Reverted back maybe a little bit, but he made some really big shots. He got to the rim, and then the only thing he didn't do sort of was finalize the free throws, which he's been really good at. But again, it was a game we really needed, and our guys just, we held to what we did all day in practice yesterday, and our game plan was great.
Big Drew and Demetrius Houston trade off 14-point, 13-rebound performances here tonight. That's a fun battle, a fun matchup to watch between those two guys. Houston more of an athletic big, Drew that traditional kind of big there in the middle. But those two are fun to watch, and Big Drew kind of made up his mind when he was going to make a move. He was just going to go really quick, and that was the difference.
Life is the one team, and you don't see it much anymore. You see people double the post on good, and you expect Drew. It doesn't matter. They double any time the ball's thrown into any post. And there is a notion that post players aren't the best passers. And so at their place it sort of held true, and I could understand it. Drew did a lot better job. Saw some film, changed some things that we did. He was very patient and deliberate with what he decided to do, and that led to some very good looks for us. He hung in there and battled, very efficient, obviously, a little over 70%, but it's hard whenever they're doubling like this to get a lot of shots. So he just did a good job and never forced the issue and came up big for us.
Dion had a couple of big putbacks in the game, Coach. He was one off a career high, tying his career high, credited with 3 steals, 6 rebounds, super active, a ton of energy down here today as well. And he's one of those guys that, when things are going well, you can feed off him so much.
Dion did a nice job. He was active. We got him involved. He got some offensive rebounds. He never made really any mistakes. At their place, we went strictly by the stats and went under ball screens on everybody, and they hurt us that way. Today we only went under ball screens on one guy, and he ended up not playing tons as the game went on because of that. So we were very active today in playing ball screens, and our post did a pretty good job. There were times fatigue set in, and they ball screen so much. Sometimes you are just late, but Dion very rarely is ever late. He was active, got his hands on some basketballs. Our guards did pretty good for the most part. We fell asleep a few times and gave up a couple threes that I would rather not give up. But again, Dion's energy, we've said it all year, it's contagious. And him diving on the floor and getting some loose balls was big for us today. And he stepped up like a senior should.
This will be a unique setting for you. This will now be a Sunday that feels more like a Friday because you'll get ready for Cumberland's to come in here on Monday night at 6 p.m. So a little bit different with the postponement on Monday. On Thursday. We didn't talk to you about that, but has it changed things for you guys moving forward, having that game on Monday now?
It doesn't change much, and the one difference is on Friday you're coming in and you're sort of cramming. You never look ahead. It's always one opponent at a time. Well, we've done our homework on Cumberland's because we were supposed to have already played. So we have that scout ready. I told our guys we have to, for 24 hours, forget that scout and move to life. And that's hard sometimes. And that was my biggest concern about today because we were so locked in and focused on Cumberland's. But they did a good job of putting that behind, and now we've got to go right back to them. We'll come in, and normally we never do anything on a Sunday. It's our off day, but we have to come in tomorrow. We won't be in the gym but 30 or 45 minutes. We won't watch film tomorrow. We'll do that on Monday. We'll make sure we understand what our matchups are, how we're guarding their players, because we're definitely guarding them different, just like we did live, than we did the first time we played them. I think it'll give us a better chance to be successful, and we're going to go in with what is a really big game on Monday leading into Georgetown on Thursday.
Yeah, that game on Monday basically will decide third place depending on the outcome, or could go to deciding third place. There's still about 3 minutes or so left in that Georgetown game, so we'll keep you up to date on that. Coach, congratulations on this one. We'll do it again Monday night. A little different, but we'll do it.
Obviously, if everybody who's out there, 6 o'clock Monday night.
6 o'clock.
We could really use a big crowd in here. I'm going to say it's a big game for us. Gets us, 3 games ago we were dead last, and now we've climbed up. And after today, when the games are over, we're either in a tie for third or fourth. So we've just continued to climb our way up, and we can move another notch up on Monday. And we really need a lot of support. Obviously, the PAL will be back in school. So I think we'll have a lot of people here, but we could use all the support possible.
Absolutely. The Tigers and Cumberland's there on Monday evening, 6 p.m.